Do you own one of these Chinese brand? It's designed to go on a skid steer, and it's a brush cutter. And if you're like me, you probably bought one of these. The only instructions that came with it said to put oil in this motor right here, hydraulic oil. Doesn't say anything about a gearbox that is down underneath this location right here, which you can't even get to without removing the hydraulic motor. At least I couldn't get to it because you could take this. This is like a little cap that runs around the side here, or runs around that keeps it covered so grass and trash and stuff doesn't get down in there where your gearbox is. But there's no access to it. You can take the 4 bolts off, but this will not come off without first either removing these hoses or removing the motor. It's just as easy to remove these 4 bolts and pop the motor up and then lift this up. And so that's the way I did it, because I took these off first, and then you got a chance of getting them mixed up or turned around or backwards or something, and you don't want to do that. So just be real careful with that. Um, but if you have one of these and you're like me, you couldn't find any way to grease the gearbox under there, and it's not really a gearbox. It's just a transfer case really with bearings in it that transfers the power from the hydraulic that spins to the blade down below the deck of the mower here. And so if you're like me, you have one of these, you didn't grease it, and you've burnt your motor up. If you have, I've created a video. I rebuilt mine. The bearings that come in are not very good. I rebuilt mine with better bearings. I suggest if you want to spend the money, get you some Timken bearings. But I bought a brand called Enduro bearings, and they compared them to Timken and some of the other higher brand bearings, and the reviews were real good on them. I was real impressed with the quality of them when I took them out of the box. I've only used this thing one time for about 5 minutes just to make sure it worked. And so I haven't mowed any serious grass with it or anything, or any serious brush with it yet. But I will report back after that. But I do have a video. I'll put a link to it down in the comments of where you can go to see how to rebuild this box. I did not show how to take it off, but real quickly, there's 4 bolts on this motor here. 1, 2, 3, and there's one on the other side, the corner you can't see there. Take those off, and this will just slides out. It just has a little shaft with teeth that slide in down into the transfer case. Once you get that off, there's 4 bolts for this orange circular cap here, and that pops off, and then you will see underneath there the transfer case or the gearbox, whatever you want to call it. It's not really a gearbox because there's no gears in it. It's just 2 bearings in it and some seals. Before you can, and once you get this cap off, there is I think there's 10 or 12 bolts that bolt the gearbox down to the deck of the lawn of the brush cutter box here. And before you can do that, you have to lift this thing up and remove the blade from underneath. That thing is, I have a triple blade. I think they have a double and a triple. I have one just like this. Is the reason I'm showing this one. They have several models. They all have the same hydraulic motor and same transfer or gear case or gearbox or whatever. And they have a couple of different kind of blades, but mine has the triple blade on it, and that thing is really heavy, so be careful with it when you unscrew it. There's probably 10 or 12 bolts for it as well, but unbolt that first because you have to get that out of the way before you can lift the transfer case out of there after you undo the 10 or 12 bolts around the inside, down inside this little, under this cap, this orange cap right here. Okay, I'm just trying to think if there's anything else worth explaining here. If you do remove these, make sure you tag these so you get them back, because you don't want your flow going backwards or anything. I'm not sure what that would do or if it matters, but I wouldn't want to take a chance on it. So make sure you mark which side these come off and put them back on there properly. Just trying to think. I think that's about it. But you know, I've done a lot of research. I've looked everywhere for a video on how to redo this. There's no videos. People talk about it happening to them, but there's no fix for it. And as you see what this thing cost, um, if you look around, you can buy them at auction, and you can buy them from people that are selling them on eBay and stuff that bought them from auction, and you might get them $1,500 to $2,000 cheaper. They're not worth 50. I wouldn't pay $5,400 for one. Even now that I know what to do and how to keep from damaging the product before you ever really get to use it. You think they would give you some instructions, but they don't. But I wouldn't pay $5,400 plus shipping for this thing. I guess yeah, see, that's just for pickup. If you want it shipped, it's probably going to cost you another, well, you see right here, $400 to $600. And depending on where you're at, it might be more than that. Don't pay that for this thing. Go on eBay, go on the auctions, look on Iron Planet, whatever. You can find you one for half this price, and they're probably worth $2,500 or $3,000. I think I paid $3,500 for mine shipped, and within 10 minutes, all I had was a boat anchor. So this is not hard to do once you know what to do. You need 4 parts, you need 2 bearings, and you need 2 oil seals, and I'll give you all that information in the other video. So just follow the link if you want to see how to rebuild it. It's not that difficult. I'm not a mechanic. I'm just a shade tree kind of mechanic, kind of jack all trades kind of guy, and I am slightly mechanically inclined, so it wasn't anything that I couldn't figure out. But I'm going to show you a schematic too, just so you got a better picture of it. Let me pull that up for you. Okay, here's this parts diagram. There's one you can download from the site, but don't use it because it's not correct. They mislabeled some of the parts and stuff on it. I got them to send me this directly from the site. This is about the only help I got from them. They are of no help. There's no warranty. They say they got a warranty, but good luck with it. They'll never answer you. I finally got them to answer me on where to get the parts, and they want $1,000 for one of these boxes, and you can rebuild it for under $100, and it's not that hard. Now you follow my video. I showed you how to take it out, and it goes back in just the same way. The hardest part of the whole thing was getting the blade back on after I rebuilt the box. So that was pretty difficult by myself. If you had some help, it probably wouldn't be that hard, but I did it by myself, and it was fairly difficult. What I finally did was took me a couple of cinder blocks and laid it flat on those cinder blocks, stack it up about 2 high where it's a little room off the ground where you can reach under there, and just try to line it up and set it down in that on top of your blade perfectly, and then you can get your screws started and lift it up. That's how I did it. And I had to get on and off my skid steer a few times to get it lined up, but I eventually got it lined up. Let me back up there. Put your brush cutter back on your skid steer where you can lift it and move it around, and then set the blade up on the cinder blocks. Get 4 cinder blocks, 2 on each side, and set it up there level, and then just kind of maneuver the box, the brush cutter box back over that, and kind of line it up, and then just drop it down, and then put your screws in. That's how I finally got it by myself. But you need these 4 parts, and it's interesting that they starred them here too. You can't match this up with the list though, so really the only thing you need this seal right here. So you need part 21, you need part 33, and there's 2 of those. Those are the bearings you need. And then you also need another oil seal up here. So you need those. Why they starred this ring, maybe they figure you'd stretch this ring or something getting it off, but that ring is super strong, and I was able to get mine out and then reuse it, so you don't need that. You just need those 4 parts, so you could scratch that one. But again, there's 2 oil seals, and they're a different size. One is bigger than the other, and I'll give you all that information in the other video. And then you also have the two bearings, which they're exactly the same, and they're 33014 bearings. And again, I would get a quality brand if you're going to go the trouble to tear this down, because the ones that came in there were cheap, and they say China on them, and they're cheap. And I could tell the difference between the new ones I put in and the old ones I took out. And the new ones I put in were Enduro brand. I'd never heard of those, but they're made in South Korea, and I did some research on them, and they had very good reviews. They're about half the price of Timken, or maybe even a third of the price of Timken, and I couldn't tell much difference in them, and the reviews were really well. I'll report back at another time. I'll do another video later and I'll follow up on all this and tell you how it all worked out after I rebuilt it. But so far, it's working great. Make sure you grease it while you got it apart, because you can't hardly get the grease in it. After I put the first bearing and pressed it back in and put the press the shaft, you have to put the bottom bearing in first and press this shaft back in, and then I flipped it over and I went ahead and put my gear oil down in there. And I didn't use gear oil, I used double O grease, which is like a cotton spindle grease. It's thicker than oil, but it's thinner than regular grease. And that was all the research I did recommended that for gearboxes, and a lot of farmers use them on their gearboxes for their bush hogs. So that's what I'm using. I'll report back how that works as well. But once you get this bottom shaft in, then you flip it over and you put the top bearing back in, and you can't press this upper one. You need something to a tube. I've got a tube. I describe all that in the other video to drive that to press that other bearing in with, and then put it back together and put that last oil seal in. It's a pretty simple process. Hopefully this video and the one showing you how to do it will be helpful to you. I wish this would have been out there for me, but really once you took it apart, all the parts are labeled. You can find them all readily on eBay. You can order them from O'Reilly's, Napa. It's all readily available. Now the bearings, you might even get those locally if you went with Timken or something, but I went on eBay and ordered the Enduro brand, and I'm pretty pleased with them. I could just hold them in my hand and see the difference in the weight and the quality of them compared to the one that came out. And the top one was the one that was destroyed on mine. The bottom one was still okay, but since I had it apart, I wasn't going to, why not go ahead and change it out and put the quality bearing in there. It didn't take but 15 or 20 more minutes of extra work, so tops. So anyway, there it is. Again, this is the box. They have a couple of other ones on here too. Here's the different brands, but they all basically are the same thing. They've got the RC72. This is the one I have, the HDRC72. There's another one here, HFRC72, and then an HCRC72. And I will tell you too, it says the minimum flow on these things, on the one I got, is about 17 to 19 gallons per minute. It gives it in liters, but you can convert these. I can't remember exactly, but I want to say it said 18 or 19 was the minimum you needed to run this. And my skid steer does not have the high flow, but it has the auxiliary flow, and it runs supposedly 21 gallons a minute, and I don't think it's powerful enough. And I have another skid steer with high flow on it that'll run up to 35 or 40 gallons a minute, and it runs really well on that one. But so this low end, just be careful with that. If you have a real low end one, you probably want to get this smaller one here. It does only have, actually this is the one I have right here, the HDRC72, because it has the 3 blades, and you can see it's about twice as heavy as this smaller one. I can't remember what all the difference is on these. I guess this one is the same as the one I got, or the HRC72 is this one. I guess it's the same as this, but it only has 2 blades. It actually looks like it's heavier too. So I think this is a little more heavy duty. And then again, this one over here, it actually has 4 blades. So I guess it's similar to this one with 4 blades. I don't know. But this is the one I have. They're all basically the same. They all work the same. So you can probably follow the same instructions. Getting this cover off, it might be a little different because it's different than this one. But these others are exactly, these other things look just like mine. And I've seen some videos and so forth. But again, these part diagrams and manual, forget that. You can see the manual just gives you exactly what I've already shown you. And this was the only one that was accurate, but all the parts are in Chinese. This one, they don't have them labeled properly, and they don't match up anyway. So skip that. Don't try to use that. You'll just set yourself back. And then if you click the part diagram, it's the same thing as the manual. So this may be the one that's more accurate. I think this may be the one that I have that they sent me that I blew up, because yeah, it does look like they're labeled properly, but you can't read it over here. So I gave you the part number so you won't have to worry about it. Again, it's 4 parts. You need 2 oil seals and you need 2 bearings. The 2 bearings are exactly the same, 33014s. And I don't remember the numbers on the 2 oil seals, but I'll give you that in the other video. But there it is. If you've got the same box I have, or you've got any of these Chinese boxes, I think they all basically work with the same principle, the same parts in them. But yeah, if you want to watch me rebuild it and get some instructions on it, just follow the link in the comments, and you can watch me rebuild mine, how I did it. And again, I'm no mechanic. I'm just a shade tree mechanic at best, that can follow directions and slightly mechanically inclined. So you can do this if you have. The thing is having the right tools. You can go to Harbor Freight and buy most of this stuff. I mean, even if you had to spend $500 on this, it's better than having a $5,000 boat anchor, which is the way I looked at it. And I think in the end, I spent about $100 on parts, maybe 125. I don't even think it was $100. The seals were about $10 or $15 a piece. They may not even been that much. I think that was with shipping to get them shipped to me. And then the bearings were about $30 a piece. So for less than $100 and probably 3 hours of my time, mine's back, and it's probably better than it was because it has better bearings in it. So anyway, this video is getting a little long. I didn't mean to make such a long video. This is just kind of to help people find the how to fix these things. And so follow the link down there. You can watch the video of me rebuilding mine. Good luck with yours. Hope it makes it a little easier for you. If you like the video, I spent a little time making the video and recording it all. These people that do YouTube full time, I respect what they do, because there's a lot of work that goes in this. So if you like the video, if it's helpful, give me a thumbs up. Maybe subscribe to my channel. This is a new channel, which I'm going to start putting up a lot of stuff like this. I do a lot of outdoor stuff, work on a lot of equipment, and so I'm going to probably do a lot of building too. I just built another video I'm going to add later. I just built this shop on me, and I'm not through with it yet. As you can probably, if you've noticed in the video, when you watch it, you'll notice that you can tell it's probably not finished yet. I don't show a whole lot of that, but I'll have a video coming of me building my 40 by 80 pole barn shop here before too long, that I'm in now working on this stuff. So I'll have some more videos coming. If you like that kind of stuff, watch for it. But anyway, good luck with your box. Good luck with rebuilding it. Hope you can have the success I had so far. I'll report back after I've used it a little bit more. Like I said, I've only used it about 10 minutes, but it was working fine. And hopefully I can report back in a few weeks and say, hey, this thing works great now. And if not, I'll tell you, I'll give you my true feelings on it. But yeah, don't spend $5,000 on this thing. I don't think it's worth it. I think it could be with some more work, but I don't think it's worth that kind of money at this point. So don't spend that on it. Find you one that's at the auctions or on eBay that somebody's selling, and make sure it's new, because they might be selling it because they did make the same mistake, and you might be buying a boat anchor. So, and it's a heavy boat anchor. Trust me, it's about a 1,500-pound boat anchor if it doesn't work. So anyway, good luck with yours.